Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to another video. Thank you so much for taking the time to join me here today on this beautiful, crisp winter's morning. I'm so happy to be outside right now, but I'm even happier that you guys are here today with me. Yay! So we're talking the Tour Du Mont Blanc today. So it's a long distance trail that runs through France, Italy and Switzerland. It's 105 miles. It goes around the Mont Blanc Massif, so basically a collection of mountains, and the summit, the highest point of those collection of mountains, is Mont Blanc itself, highest mountain in Europe. Covered in snow, rather spectacular place, not been to the top, but it is on the goal list, I must confess. So today I'm talking about the kit that I took with me on the trail, which I walked in July. So my documentary film about the trail may or may not be out right now. If it is, it will be in the description below, or possibly popping up right here, right now. If it's not, stay tuned, it's coming your way very soon. You can also watch a 3-minute preview of the trail if you're short on time and you just want to see what it looks like. Definitely worth watching that, because it's a jolly epic trail. And of course, if you are planning on walking, because you're watching this to get some ideas, you can also watch my top tips video. Loads of different information there. Of course, collection of footage as well on top to find out more about planning your trip and making the best of your experience on the trail. But today, specifically, as I've already mentioned, we're talking about packing. So this is basically the pack that I took. Of course, I haven't kept this packed since July. It's January right now, so it's been 6 months, and I really wanted to make this video. I just haven't had the opportunity. It's been a very busy time on the trail, and then coming back, editing and life. So I'm making this video now. This is basically, I kept my kit list. This is everything I took with me, bar my MP3 player, which I forgot to put in my bag because it's in the gym. So that's the only thing I'm missing. Now my base weight is approximately 10 kilograms, maybe slightly less, but this weighs actually more right now because I've got some camera kit in here, and I've got my food and some water here as well. And so I think it weighs about 13 kilograms. So of course that's probably heavier than most of you guys will need, because you aren't necessarily carrying a whole load of camera gear. I've not got a lot in here, to be honest, of camera gear, but you'll see as we go through. So basically, I'd set out to walk the trail in 10 days. That's kind of the average length of time it takes people. I was going to camp the whole way. I ended up doing it in 7 days, and I did camp most nights, bar 2, I think it was. I had a refuge I stayed in, and because I wasn't allowed to camp, it's very difficult to camp on the trail, to be honest. And I stayed in a hotel as well, actually, which was because I didn't think there was anywhere to camp, but there actually was somewhere to camp. It was all a bit crazy, but it's an experience I would not change a single second of. So let's get started with my kit. Now, of course, you may just be doing this as day hikes. You may be already staying in refuges and huts. You may have those booked, so you won't need half of this. This is my camping kit, essentially. So let's get started. No particular order. Just going to run through everything. And if I feel like I've missed anything out, then, of course, I'll mention that as we go. So this, to begin with, is my Osprey Exos backpack. So this is the 48 litre. It's not quite full up. As you can see, there's plenty of space for me to add things if I want to. I had my tripod, which I'm shooting on right now, stuffed in the side here. My DSLR was strapped on my front as well, and I had a GoPro, which was what I was filming on as well, and as well as my phone. So let's get started. First thing that comes out, absolute essential. These, my friends, are tissues, and I'd like to point out they're from Waitrose, where you can get a free coffee. I do like Waitrose. They are not sponsors of this. They just bring a lot of joy to my life. So I was not sure what the toilet situation would be like. So those are tissues basically, and here's bags to take the tissues once they are soiled. Nice life backpacking. Up next I have got an Airlight towel. So this is the travel towel that I use when I'm on the trail. It's actually quite big, it does dry quite fast, but it is ridiculously light. I don't think it says how light it is, but it is very light. This is the large size if you're interested, and that's it. That's all I use as a travel towel. If I'm hiking in winter, I might take 2 so I can sort of wipe off condensation from my tent. More tissues. These are actually usually in my hip pocket. This is great, very exciting, isn't it? And then I have a sort of collection of things here. So let's have a look in this bag. So I've got a Soya micro squeeze. So that's what I took to sort of purify water. I did take the plastic bag that it came with, but that broke. So essentially it's like a collapsible water bottle, but as I say, that broke. It leaked everywhere in my tent, which was very sad. So Soya micro squeeze served me very well. I'm still sort of getting familiar with it. Arguably, you don't necessarily need to be purifying the water on the trail, but there are a lot of like cattle about in sort of the even not necessarily lower levels. And of course, you've got marmots and the ibexes and stuff going around. So it's kind of, there's no harm in sort of just sorting your water out if you want to. I did drink from some streams coming right down from the snow and stuff. That was absolutely fine by me, but if in doubt, Soya micro squeeze served me really well. I'm still sort of learning to get on with it, but it did the job when I was on the trail. Hand sanitizer to go with the soiled toilet roll. Pen. As I say, this is very fun, isn't it? Some ibuprofen gel, injury in my back, if I needed that, that is there. Then I've got some sun cream, that was pretty essential. The average daily temperature for me was 30 degrees Celsius, so it's jolly hot most of the time. And then basically I have some electrolyte drops. Now these were I was experimenting with on the trail, so essentially apparently it's 5 servings, but I made it last a lot longer than that. And it's basically magnesium, chloride, potassium and sodium, and this is elite electrolyte, so it's quite expensive, but normally I use electrolyte tablets and that was much lighter, so I took that. Then I had a penknife, and actually this is the one I bought in Chamonix, except it has a moose on it, so I don't know why I did that, but I like mooses, so mooses? So that's my knife. And a little cross that I made, because why not, and basically some personal medication in there, so that was fun emptying that. And then, to be honest, that's basically it. I've got a little bit of lip salve and a lighter in case I needed it. There you go, that works good. So that's the top pocket. Let's have a look at the underside of the top pocket. And again, nice and simple, all I've got in here is my head torch, so it's super accessible. This is a Petzl Actic, got a review on that if you want to check that out. I have some earbuds. I was given these when I went to stay in the refuge because you're staying in basically a dormitory. To be fair, I was so knackered I didn't hear anything basically, but I did get to sleep very late and that wasn't that fun because people were coming in, but it was fine, it was what it was. I didn't actually use these, but helpful to have. And then I have a spork, kind of essential for life in general. And that's it, just some more bags and tissues basically. As I say, it's very exciting right now. Let's get down to the good stuff. Main compartment. So, actually, excuse me, I'm going to do the front compartment so then it's all like not collapsing in my face. So this, you guys probably won't have, this is a weightlifting belt. What are you doing on the trail, Abbie? So I literally wear this because it helps to support my back. It keeps the sort of weight off my shoulders a little bit with the injury that I've got. Don't need to go into that, that's just a personal thing. This is the jacket that I had most of the time. It's just a wind shell. I think it's the Rab Borealis. It's not the lightest and it doesn't dry very quickly, and I also had it around my waist a lot of the time as well, so I didn't have to carry it, but it packs down quite nicely, as you can see. So Rab Borealis, just in case, you know, it was really windy at some cols, so the mountain passes, which it really was, that came in handy quite often. I've got a rain cover attached to my rucksack for the rucksack. Then in here, this is my hats and gloves selection, and I did take hats and gloves because, as I say, at the cols especially, I needed it. There was quite a lot of snow about, so I've got a hat, I've got some fingerless gloves, I've got a buff which I needed, and I've got some full gloves, just really light stuff. But you know, at night camping as well, it was nice to have that stuff, especially on a clear night. It was cold at times, and even in the refuges, to be honest, the temperature drops once everyone's in their sleeping bag, so it's good to have that stuff. And you just never know in the mountains, weather can change just like that, and so that was good to have those just in case. So you may or may not fly over to Geneva and then get a transfer to Chamonix, but I did fly, not the best for the planet. I'm really working on that, to be honest, because it goes against a lot of my sort of ethics. But in order to fly, rather than wrapping this in cellophane or whatever it is, and then that just goes in the landfill, I've got this, which is a Highlander rucksack transit cover, and it's perfect. It's 100 litres, so basically my rucksack sits in this, my pole, my tripod, everything can just sit in it, and then when it travels through the airport, it's all kept nice and compact, and I can just whip it out. I didn't take the actual case because it's just another few grams, but as you can see, it packs down quite nicely, and that's really helpful for when I travel. And if you're interested in knowing how to travel or fly with backpacking gear, I've got a video coming on that, so it may be live right now, it may not be. Again, it will be up there or down below in the link description if you want to find out about how to fly with backpacking gear. Up next, kind of essential, flip-flops. So these are super light flip-flops. I used to use sort of organically woven flip-flops, but they're much heavier. These are just sort of cheaper flip-flops, falling apart, lots of tape, but I'm not going to chuck them away just yet. I had some ankle gaiters, and these were helpful in some of the snowy parts. And then just a spare plastic bag. So that's the front. So that's all stuff that's accessible. So I might need to whip my gaiters on and off. I might need to put hats on and off quickly. The rucksack cover was right down at the bottom. Once I was actually on the trail, I didn't need to access that, obviously. And you can actually buy these that double up as a waterproof cover, which is quite nice. So if you're looking to save weight, that's another way to do that as well. So let's have a look. Now the main compartment. So 2 red bags, which should we start with? This is sort of my charging equipment. So I did take a very big power bank actually, because I had no idea, I didn't even really know what my itinerary was, I just kind of went. But this is the anchor something? Power core anchor. So it's 20,100 something. I don't know what that means, but it's big basically, and it's heavy. But I use that so I can make sure everything was charged, because of course I'm a filmmaker, I need to make sure everything's charged. You probably won't need one that big if you're not making a film. And then I just have all my charging stuff in there. This one's GoPro stuff, so just batteries, GoPro stuff in case I need it for filming. Then we get to my coat. So my coat's obviously accessible straight away. This is my mountain equipment Lotzi jacket, which has served me very well. It's quite a heavy jacket, but it's very robust. It is a mountain jacket, but it's got all the pockets that I need. I did need to use it a number of times because it was very windy, very cold, and there were a few thunderstorms on the final days for me, so it was good to have that jacket. Definitely do not be in the mountains without a waterproof. Then I've got waterproof trousers. So these are my Berghaus Pack Light trousers. I didn't keep them in the mesh bag, but again, just for simplicity with this video, those are the trousers there. And then we get to my food bag, all the good stuff now. So you see that's quite bulky, but in all honesty, I don't have a lot in here. I'll break it down for you. So food on the trail is really quite accessible. It does take a little bit of planning ahead, and we'll get to that in a minute, but you don't need to be carrying a lot. It's just good to have some spare stuff just in case. So I took 2 ration packs. So these are adventure food ration packs. I'm basically plant-based, but for this trip I was just vegetarian because it's very difficult to be plant-based. Especially France, Italy, Switzerland. They like their cheese. And then I took a couscous packet just in case, and then basically a whole load of cereal bars. So for this, I've eaten them all obviously because I'm back from the trail, but mostly I just took these. These are from Lidl's. They're one of my favorites. They're raw food bars. They're cashew and dates, so really good for me. They fuel me, make me feel good. In here I've got, it's covered in duct tape in case I need duct tape. This is just a little case, but I've also got in here some multivitamin tablets. I just have those every day, not because I necessarily need them, I just enjoy drinking them. So multivitamin tablets, they sort of help me stay hydrated and encourage me to drink. And then I have got some coffee sachets. They're always good to have. So just had one of those each morning, and I picked some up on the trail actually. I got some, you could buy all your food in Chamonix if you wanted to. It's super easy, and then just hike the trail from there. Tea bags, I'm British, what do you expect? And then I basically got a whole load of easy oat sachets, so I'd have 1 or 2 of these each day, and if I wanted to eat more, I would eat more and just make sure there was a place later on in the day to pick up some stuff. I bought things like couscous on the trail. I bought things like loads of bread on the trail. I bought like fruit, bananas. I was always carrying bananas. Really enjoy bananas. Always worth me carrying them because I don't care about the weight for the pleasure that I get from eating them. So there's lots of different things that I would buy on the trail. Of course, this didn't last very long. I just knew that I had a few days in more remoter sections, and that's why I have all this spare food. You could probably go out there with even less, but just make sure you plan ahead because you don't want to get caught out or find that some of the refuges, for example, have sold out of food, because that's also a possibility. Many of them are only accessible on foot. They've got sort of a limited amount of stuff, so just prepare ahead. I keep saying that, but it's true. Next up, I've got my nano puff jacket. It's Patagonia. It's not necessarily the warmest thing in the world, but I really enjoy it, and it was more than enough for me combined with my other layers. So it smells a bit, to be honest, but that's that. Do love that jacket. That's a daily use thing for me. Got my first aid kit. This is actually slightly bigger than I took right now because I've just come off of leading a walk. So this is the one I took for that. But essentially it's got, I divided into 2 parts, sort of medication and then actual trauma-based stuff. So, you know, blister plasters, some bandages in there. I do carry a slightly bulkier first aid kit, I think, than most people, just because I'm an outdoor first aider, and I get very passionate about being able to help people if I need to. So I carry more than enough for me and somebody else, and somebody else on top of that if anything was to happen. Okay, so getting there. Up next, I've got my stove. So this is a different setup. You might not have seen this setup before. You're probably used to seeing me use jet boil, but basically I bought this because it actually worked out lighter. So this is a Soto aluminium pot. Can't figure out what size it is. Hang on. I think it's a litre. No, it can't be a litre. It is. No, sorry, I don't know how big it is, but it's a pot. Yay! And then I've got a Soto little, it's like a pocket rocket thing, so it screws on top of a gas canister, and of course you can't fly with gas canisters, so you're going to need to get one of those in Chamonix, and that was a bit of drama, I'll tell you that. There's a lot of outdoor shops in Chamonix, but not many of them sell gas. So basically that all packs together, and then I have an elastic band which sort of holds it together, and that's my cooking system. Skadoosh. Then I've got my clothing. This is all kind of coming out of randomness. I didn't really carry much clothing. That looks a lot bulkier than it should, to be honest. Basically, you can see all I've got. I didn't change my clothes once during the whole trip, so I was actually out there for 14 days in total, I think. I just don't see the point, really. You're just carrying stinky clothes then. So I have some nice fancy socks that I sleep in. They're very soft. I've got another insulating layer. So this is a super lightweight Montaigne jacket. It really packs down, very, very small. I would sleep in that, and if it was really cold in the day, I don't think it ever was actually, but I knew that I could layer up, so I could wear this, I could wear that, then I could wear my yellow one, then I could wear my coat if I needed to. So plenty of options for insulation, possibly more than I needed, but I don't go out there and say I'm an ultralight backpacker. I'm not. I am a realist. Then I had some really thin, again, super light trousers. I don't think I ever wore these as trousers. I would just roll them up. These are too big for me, but being too big means I can roll them up nice and easy and just use them as shorts. But then in the night, as it got cold, I would roll them down. I don't necessarily tend to carry shorts with me very often, but as you can see, packed down nice and small. And I had a t-shirt. So this is a t-shirt I would sleep in. So basically sort of wet clothes, if you want to call it that. So sweaty clothes, and then sleeping clothes. And then I have 2 pairs of socks. So of course I'd be wearing a pair, and we'll get to what I was wearing again in a minute. So 2 pairs of socks and a pair of underpants, because everyone wants to see that. So those are my clothes. That's all I took, as well as what I was wearing, of course. So quite a few insulating layers, as you can see. I really just want to make sure I'm staying comfortable. You might not want to take that many. Then I've got my sleeping mat. So again, I didn't keep it in its case. This is actually brand new because the one I had on the trail broke. So it's basically Thermarest Nano Air, or Neo Air, sorry, X Light. So it's quite small, as you see. I think it weighs just over 300 grams. I've got a review on that if you want to see it. Now, I do love this mat a lot, but basically the second trip I had after the Tour Du Mont Blanc, so I did Tour Du Mont Blanc Bear-Away, then I did the Rob Roy Way, and it exploded. The baffles went. So they sent me this new one, and I haven't used this yet, but that is what I took of the Tour Du Mont Blanc. It served me absolutely fine. So that's that. Just personal wash kit. You can see it's pretty small. Hygiene, what's that? So wash kit. And then of course, right down at the bottom, pride and joy, is my sleeping bag. Quite a bulky sleeping bag, yes. I think it weighs about, I don't know, 500 grams maybe? 600 grams? Need to work on that. But basically it's my Neutrino 400. Again, review on that if you want to check it out. Can't rate this sleeping bag highly enough. Super comfortable. I use it pretty much throughout the year unless I'm going super high altitude. It's a great sleeping bag. Absolutely love it. So just pop that back in there. Then I've got one last thing in the main center compartment, and that is this. So this is just basically notepad, passport, all the information that I need. That's sort of just travel stuff. So I keep that in my rucksack. The place I keep it varies, but it's in there. So at the bottom here, I've got attached, this was a new tent for me. So this is the Terra Nova Laser Compact 1. So it's a 1-person tent, it's super light. I actually changed out the pegs, so I think it ended up weighing just over 850 grams, which is just unbelievably light. Served me perfectly fine for that trail. I probably wouldn't use it, but I haven't used it in the UK because I really had quite dry weather on the Tour Du Mont Blanc, and that was great for dry weather. I took trekking poles. So these are my Terra Nova collapsible trekking poles. I can't remember the name of them, but again, super cool, super light, really quite cheap as well. £35 for the pair. They've done hundreds of miles already. Just so good, so nice having them be able to collapse down like this as well. You can just shove them away super easy rather than poke someone's eye out. Now I did actually take plastic bottles on the walk, and I actually, here you go. This is the plastic bottle I bought 6 months ago. I just can't throw it away. It's perfectly usable. I don't care if it gets recycled, like I just have a thing. So that's, obviously it's been washed, yes. I do know what hygiene is. So this is a water bottle. So I took 2 of these, and I had that collapsible water bottle. I've just brought, for the sake of it, some flasks to show you. I think I took this flask, it's pretty dented. So I took plenty of water options. Of course, with the micro squeeze, it would screw on top of there, and then you have to transfer it. So you've got to have one sort of dirty bottle, if you want to call it that, and then your sort of cleaner bottles. So that was what the collapsible one was until it broke. Also I've got here, again, you don't really necessarily need it if you're trying to go ultra light because you've got the bowl, but I took a mug, it's a titanium mug. This is a 400ml mug. It's Finesse City, and it's stupidly light. It's ridiculous. So I've got that mug there. And then, oh yeah, here we go, we're getting there. I lost myself for a minute then. So in the pockets, basically this is where I keep my compass, and I've got some tissues in there. I might keep some snacks. In this one I usually keep my knife and just some batteries and stuff. And then sort of the key point here really is maps and guidebooks. Just to sort of wrap this up, so if you're planning your trip, which map do you want to get, which guidebooks do you want to get, and what did I use? So let's start with the guidebooks. There are 2 guidebooks out in the world, 2 that people sort of use. So the Cicerone and the Trailblazer. I bought both because I was just really struggling to plan it. There's so much information online, it was just very, very overwhelming. So yeah, I got both of these, and I actually took this one on the trail, so the Trailblazer. And in order to complement that, I am a map person, so I bought actually this, which is basically, I can't tell the name of it because it's so worn out, but it's a 1 to 50 Tour Du Mont Blanc map, and it's so nice having the whole thing there, and you can track where you are, and it's really good because of course it's got all your escape routes and stuff on there if you want to find some other paths. The Tour Du Mont Blanc has got lots of variants, so it's nice to be able to see those there. The maps in this book are quite I mean, they're okay, they do the job, but if you find yourself off trail, this is where you need this. So I can't recommend that highly enough. And this is just nice to have. As you can see, I've sort of dog-eared it all over the place. It's full of information. Sometimes these conflict each other, which was really frustrating. So in the end, that's why I just went for this one. I'm a big Trailblazer fan. They work really well for me, but some of you guys, of course, love Cicerone, and I do love Cicerone as well, so it's all good. And that, my friends, is everything I took with me. What did I wear? Good question. Well, I didn't have this jacket. This is newish, filthy already, but hey, so's life. I wore that Borealis, so I had the Borealis, I had my Stay Wild t-shirt on, and then I had these, which are Montaigne Terra pants, trousers, whatever you want to call them, and then boots. So my other ones have died because they did over 6,000 miles, but basically they're not sold anymore, but they are Salomon boots, so authentic something or other, authentic Gore-Tex boots, I don't really know, but they're mesh, they're sort of synthetic stuff, so they worked absolutely fine for me. Some people say, oh yeah, go for it in trail shoes. You can, but you haven't got the support. Some of the variants are extremely steep and rocky. You've got boulder fields to go through. It's quite, challenging at times. I really do encourage you to have boots. I'm not one to go down this trail runner shoe thing. If you have an accident, if you go over on your ankle, you're a long way from help at different points. So boots are definitely worth getting. Get some comfortable boots. They don't need to be full-on mountain boots, heavy boots, just stuff that you're used to working with. And that is it, guys. That is everything I took on the Tour Du Mont Blanc with me, except my MP3 player. So I hope that was helpful for you. Basically, it's pretty much just my standard backpacking kit. I mentioned the camera stuff I took as well. But, food, as I say, plenty accessible on the trail. Get your guidebooks, they'll really help you plan stuff out. You need to decide if you want to do it camping or staying in refuges. Of course, camping, you're going to need this stuff. If you're just staying in refuges, you can get all your meals and everything there. Of course, it's going to be more expensive. Camping on the trail is quite difficult. Now, some people go, oh, just camp on the trail, but it's actually illegal on most of the trail. And if a ranger finds you, then they will fine you 650 euros. And that caused me a lot of stress at various points. And at one point, actually, I pitched up at a designated wild camping spot. So it was within a national park. I was still in France. And I pitched up at 4 o'clock, and I'd walked past a sign, apparently, that said you're not allowed to pitch before 7 o'clock. And basically, I got given a warning. And she said, if they find me again, she'd been sat up on the hill with binoculars. So they are about, because it's a trail, and they know that people are using it. Yeah, I got given a warning, and if they saw me again, then I would get a fine. So, but it was kind of good that my French was patchy, even though I had been working on it, but I made it out to be more patchy, so she was like, oh, fine. So thankfully, that was okay. But I'm not saying that to scare you, I'm just saying that to say, just make sure you plan ahead. Camping at things like Coles and stuff is probably a good idea, because hopefully the rangers won't be up at like 2,000 meters. But it's an amazing trail, and if you are heading onto it, I wish you all the best. It will be an adventure of a lifetime, I can guarantee that. I really hope you enjoy the videos that I put out about the trail. I hope they benefit you, and if you've got any questions, please do drop it below. I don't have any information about specific refuges. They close for the winter seasons sort of from September. They tend to open up about June. Best thing to do is to head onto the Tour Du Mont Blanc website itself. There's loads of information on there, and of course there's a Tour Du Mont Facebook group if you're on Facebook. That's very helpful. There's people on there who've done it 3, 4, 5 times. They're so knowledgeable. Really worth checking in with them. That's it from me, guys. Enjoy your adventures. Thank you for watching, and stay wild. I'll see you in the next video.